Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, sixth chapter, text 32 onwards. Devdattam imam vidam swar brahma vibhushitam urchaitva harikatam gayamanascharami. And thus I travel. So Narad Muni is telling Vyasadeva that after he had seen the Supreme Lord, and then he got transcendental body, and then he traveled all over the universe. So now he is telling how he traveled. And thus I travel, constantly singing the transcendental message of the glories of the Lord, vibrating this instrument called a veena, which is charged with transcendental sound and which was given to me by Lord Krishna. So that veena that Narad Muni has was given to him by Krishna himself. The musical stringed instrument called the veena, which was handed to Narad by Lord Shri Krishna, is described in the Linga Puran, and this is confirmed by Srila Jiva Goswami. So just imagine the specialty of Narad Muni, that he got veena by Krishna himself, from Krishna himself. This transcendental instrument is identical with Lord Krishna and Narad because all of them are of the same transcendental category. Sound vibrated by the instrument cannot be material, and therefore the glories and pastimes which are broadcast by the instrument of Narad are also transcendental without a tinge of material inability. The seven singing meters, namely Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, Pa, Dha, Ni, Sa, are also transcendental and specifically meant for transcendental songs. As a pure devotee of the Lord, Sri Narada Dev is always fulfilling his obligation to the Lord for his gift of the instrument, and thus he is always engaged in singing his transcendental glories and is therefore infallible in his exalted position. So this is what Narad Muni is doing. He's using that veena, and like Prabhupada is talking about the Saptam, Saregama Padanisa. So this is also supposed to be used in the service of the Lord. It all comes from the Lord. And actually, later on, I think it's in the seventh canto of Bhagavatam, the story will come that how Narad Muni became the son of this maid servant. We read the story, he was a son of maid servant. So how he became? So in seventh canto it is mentioned that Narad Muni in his life prior to that, prior to being the son of maid servant, he was a Gandharva. And in the assembly of all the demigods, he was called to sing the glories of the Lord. But when he came there, he, instead of singing the glories of the Lord, he started singing, well, Prabhupada writes in the purport, he started singing movie songs. Of course, that time, I don't think in the heaven there were any movies. But basically what he meant was, he started to sing all these songs that people listen to every day. So the demigods, I don't know, Indra or some other, he got very upset and he cursed Narad Muni. Now you're singing this low songs which are befitting for people on the earth. So you take a birth on earth as a lowly human being. For them, we are very low people. So that's how Narad Muni had to take birth here, and then somehow he got in contact with those sadhus. Sadhus gave him the knowledge and initiated him, and then he did tapasya, and he became Narad Muni. And now, see, he got this veena, and he's again singing, but now he's completely glorifying the Lord everywhere, anytime, all the time. So same singing got him in trouble, and now same singing he is using in the service of the Lord. And there is a beautiful bhajan in our Gaudiya Vaishnava line, Narad Muni Bajai Veena Radhika Raman Name. So he's always singing the glories of Radhika Raman. So maybe I can post that bhajan on the WhatsApp group. Pragayata Swaviryani Tirthapada Priyashravaha Ahut Eva Me Shigram Darshanam Yati Chetasi. The Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, whose glories and activities are pleasing to hear, at once appears on the seat of my heart, as if called for, as soon as I begin to chant his holy activities. See, this is the beauty of singing Krishna's glories, Krishna's names. At once he appears on the seat of the heart of a devotee. The absolute personality of Godhead is not different from his transcendental name, form, pastimes, and the sound vibrations thereof. As soon as a pure devotee engages himself in the pure devotion service of hearing, chanting, and remembering the name, fame, and activities of the Lord, at once he becomes visible to the transcendental eyes of the pure devotee by reflecting himself on the mirror of the heart by spiritual television. Prabhupada writes nicely, by spiritual television. So as if in the heart of a devotee, there's a spiritual TV going on, and the live transmission of Krishna is there. And he writes very nicely, the transcendental eyes of the pure devotee. So we are also chanting, we are also, we can say we are trying to chant, we are trying to hear, trying to do all the activities required. But because since our senses are not spiritualized yet, so that's why we don't see him. Otherwise, as soon as one chants the holy name of the Lord, it is said when we are chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or then Radha and Krishna, they're personally dancing on our tongues. They're personally dancing. But we don't see them. We cannot perceive of them. Because our senses are not purified yet. Slowly, slowly, it will happen. With Narad Muni, it happened very soon, in one lifetime only. He saw Krishna face to face. As for us, it might take some more time. That's all. Therefore, a pure devotee who is related with the Lord in loving transcendental service can experience the presence of the Lord at every moment. That's what Brahm Saint also says, no? Santa Sadhya Hirdesha Vilokiyanti. Means who Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena. Those devotees whose eyes are anointed with the love of God, they can see the Lord at every moment. It's a natural psychology in every individual case that a person likes to hear and enjoy his personal glories enumerated by others. This is natural instinct, and the Lord, being also an individual personality like others, is not an exception. The only difference is that the Lord is the greatest personality and of all, and absolute in all his affairs. Absolute means everything about him is transcendental. So if therefore the Lord is attracted by the pure devotee's chanting of his glories, there is nothing astonishing. Since he is absolute, he can appear himself in the picture of his glorification, the two things being identical. And actually there's one more thing mentioned, not here, but in Goswami literature, especially, actually this is a Purushottam month going on. So Purushottam month means the month of Krishna. So now Krishna, if we have to attract Krishna, it's the month of Krishna, so we should do things that are pleasing to him. that will attract him. He likes it, and he'll get really attracted. And he can then show himself to us, or he can do whatever we want. And what is it that he likes the most? That we have to see. Of course, he says in Gita, Manmanabhav madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru, chant my name, think of me, worship me, offer obeisances to me. So that's one way. But the thing that he really likes is when we chant his glories of his devotees. Of course, he likes his glories also to be chanted, his name to be chanted. But something he really likes is when we chant glories of his devotees, when we glorify his devotees. And especially this being Purushottam month, the month of Krishna. So this is really mentioned that we should chant the glories of his devotees. And who's the topmost devotee of Krishna? Srimati Radharani. Of course, anytime we can chant name of Radharani and it will attract Krishna, but especially during this month. Just like in the month of Kartik. Kartik month is considered month of Srimati Radharani. So if we chant names of Krishna, especially that Damodarashtakam, it attracts the mercy of Radharani. So she gives us lots of bhakti. But in Purushottam month, if we chant the glories of Radharani, that really pleases and attracts Krishna. So that doesn't mean we start chanting Radhe, 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 Radhe. Of course, we can do that. But we have been told by Prabhupada to chant Hare Krishna. So we chant Yugal mantra. So we attract mercy of both of them. But Krishna specifically in this month likes the name of Radharani. And whenever we chant, and it is said, anybody who's chanting the name of Radha, Krishna runs towards him. There's one place I read, as soon as a devotee starts, in his mind he wants to chant the name of Radha, and he starts with Ra. And when he starts with Ra, Krishna starts running towards him. And when he ends with Dha, Radha, Krishna basically comes and picks up that devotee or embraces him. That's how powerful the name of Srimati Radharani is. So the month of Purushottam, we can really attract him that way. But if you chant Hare Krishna mantra, Mahamantra, then both of them will come. Because Radharani is there and Krishna himself is there. So that's why there's so much of importance given or insisted on chanting the holy name. Etadhyatur chittanam matra sparshe chaya muhu bhav sindhu plavo drishto haricharya anuvarnanam. It is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties due to desiring contact of the senses with their objects can cross the ocean of nescience on a most suitable boat. What is a suitable boat? The constant chanting of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. The constant chanting. The symptom of a living being is that he cannot remain silent even for some time. He must be doing something, thinking of something, or talking about something. So silent means not just by mouth. Silent means, as we studied in Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna asked, what are the symptoms of a self-realized soul, and especially how does he sit, how does he walk? And so sit was, or walk was, how does he use his senses? So here it means how so it means the living being cannot remain silent or cannot remain without using his senses even for some time. So he must be doing something, thinking of something, or talking about something. Generally, the materialistic men think and discuss about subjects which satisfy their senses. But as these things are exercised under the influence of the external illusory energy, such sensual activities do not actually give them any satisfaction. So we all are engaged. Every moment we are engaged in doing something. But it doesn't give us satisfaction. We are looking for something really that gives us satisfaction or gives a pleasure. On the contrary, they become full with cares and anxieties. This is called Maya, or that which is not. So Sri Narad Muni, by his personal experience, says that satisfaction for such frustrated beings engaged in sense gratification is to chant always the activities of the Lord. But that always chanting, it doesn't just come easily. One has to really practice it. The point is that the subject matter not only should be changed, no one can check the thinking activities of living being, nor the feeling, willing, working processes. But if one wants actual happiness, one must change the subject matter only. So we just have to change the subject matter. In the beginning, it will be like forcing, we will be forcing ourselves to chant the names of the Lord, to think about the Lord, to read about Him, to glorify Him. But slowly, 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 because it's a constitutional position of the soul, natural position of the soul, to chant His name, it will become a habit. Then we don't even have to think about it, because then we'll do it out of love. And when we are doing it out of love, when we are doing it really, there's like in chanting, the three stages it is mentioned. I have to do it, I got to do it, or I want to do it, and I love to do it. So those are the stages. First is I have to do it because either I have to post it on the WhatsApp group, or Prabhuji must be asking, Prabhuji might be asking, have you done your chanting? So far in this group, we haven't introduced sadhana chart. Maybe later sometime we'll do that. And then we'll come to the stage of, yes, I want to do it. It's not like I have to do it. Nobody's forcing, but I want to do it. And then we'll come to the stage, I love doing it. I love chanting. Actually, chanting is like that. It is very addicting after a while. We'll see that. And there's a wonderful story in Chaitanya Charitamrita. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was in Jagannath Puri, so there was a person, and he was so much addicted to chanting that he could not give up chanting. He was always chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But then he heard from somebody that Krishna is non-different from his name. So he was happy, but at the same time, there was a problem. He thought, when I go to pass the stool, when I go to toilet, how can I chant? Because Krishna is non-different from his name, and I cannot take him to the toilet. So he was sitting in the toilet, and he was trying to hold his tongue, but the tongue was always moving, chanting Hare Krishna, and he was trying to hold again, and in the toilet, and it was a problem. So he came out, and then there was a little boy, Gopal. And Gopal told him, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm trying to control my tongue from chanting, because I don't want to chant in the toilet. I cannot take Krishna in the toilet. But Gopal then told him, and you never heard of that Krishna, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Nam Nam Makari Bahuda, that there is no rule and regulations of chanting anytime, anywhere. You can chant his name anytime, anywhere. And Gopal actually told him that what if, when you're passing stool, what if Yamduta's time of death comes? Because it is said at the time of death, whatever consciousness is, that is the body will get. So if you're not chanting at the time of death, then we might end up somewhere else. So then that person understood, okay, that is good. So he started chanting everywhere. So Mahaprabhu, when he heard Gopal speaking like that, so Mahaprabhu said, you're not Gopal from now on, you're Gopal Guru. So he gave him the position of a guru, although Gopal was a little boy at that time. So this is a condition of some people who cannot stop chanting. And actually, it is the best practice. Instead of we getting into gossiping or criticizing or anything, by the same tongue can be source of our bondage, and the same tongue can be source of our liberation. By the same tongue, if you're chanting the name of Lord, glories of the Lord, activities of the Lord, same tongue can liberate us. And same tongue, when we are, because we have to use it. It's not like we can remain silent for too long. If we are gossiping or criticizing others or talking bad things about others, it can get us into trouble. That's why when we read this scripture, it's a wonderful scripture, wonderful book by Rupa Goswami. Prabhupada called it Nectar of Instruction. It's Updeshamrita. So it's Nectar of Instruction. The very first verse of that Nectar of Instruction is Vacho Vegam Manasa Krodha Vegam. Means one has to control the urges of, first thing is tongue, then mind, then anger, and then rest of things follow. So very first thing in the instructions is one has to control the urge to speak. And that's how our progress in bhakti, the spiritual life starts. So somehow or other we have to control our tongue. Of course, if it is necessary to do other activities, we do that, but at least we should not use the tongue in criticizing or gossiping or talking bad about others. So as much as we can use it in the service of the Lord, that'll be great. Great thing to do. So Prabhupada is further writing, the Almighty Personality of Godhead, by His causeless mercy, descends on the earth and manifests activities almost on the line of the worldly men. But at the same time, they're extraordinary because He is Almighty. He does so for the benefit of all conditioned souls, so that they can turn their attention to transcendence. By doing so, the conditioned soul will gradually be promoted to the transcendental position and easily cross the ocean of nescience, the source of all miseries. So Krishna performs so many wonderful pastimes for us so that we can talk about it and we can think about it, we can relate to it, and by that we can get purified. Yamadebhir yoga patha kamalo hato muhu mukunda sevaya yadvat tathatmadha na shamyati. It is true that by practicing restraint of the senses by the yoga system, one can get relief from the disturbances of desire and lust. But this is not sufficient to give satisfaction to the soul. For this satisfaction is derived from devotional service to the personality of Godhead. So yoga aims at controlling the senses. So any form of yoga, whether it is Hatha Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, first thing is to control the senses. Hatha Yoga is definitely to control the senses, but after even controlling the senses, there is no engagement of the senses. That's the biggest problem. Means engagement of the senses in a higher sense, in the service of the Lord. So that's what Krishna also speaks about in Bhagavad Gita. If we give higher taste to the senses, then the lower taste automatically goes away. But that higher taste, we have to be very, very careful when we are giving. We could be thinking we are giving higher taste, but we might be giving the lower taste. For example, even when we come to the bhakti platform and we come to the association of devotees, even if it's sitting with devotees and we are criticizing others and gossiping about others, then we are still giving the lower taste because we are still at that level. And this is there's something very, very juicy for people because we are used to those kind of activities, and it really gives lots of pleasure to talk bad about others. And without understanding that this is what is going to pull us down. So we're giving higher taste means we have to constantly try to engage the senses in the service of the Lord, especially the sense of tongue. The senses are considered like venomous serpents, and the yoga system is just to control them. On the other hand, Narad Muni recommends another method for controlling the senses in the transcendental loving service of Mukunda. By his experience, he says that devotional service to the Lord is more effective and practical than the system of artificially controlling the senses. There are many instances in history, just like Vishwamitra Muni falling a victim to the beauty of Menaka, but Thakur Haridas was allured at midnight by the well-dressed Maya, and still she could not induce that great devotee into her trap. So somehow we have to engage our senses in the service of the Lord, especially the sense of talking. That is the first sense, and it's most difficult to control. So I'll stop here, see anybody has any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, this is Vidhu Sharma here. So, Prabhuji, the senses are very strong. How do we control them?
Mm-hmm. The process that is given is the easiest processes by engaging the senses as much as possible in the service of the Lord. Otherwise, they're very difficult to be controlled. So just like we want to talk, obviously everybody wants to talk. So we try to talk about Krishna, chant his name. We want to see something beautiful, so we go see the deities of Krishna, or of course that is not possible all the time. So we can see beautiful pictures of Krishna. We want to hear something, hear the glories of the Lord. We want to taste. Taste is another activity of the tongue. So taste the prasadam. So if basically these two things we can do about the tongue, talking and tasting, all of the senses can come under control. So eating is not prohibited. Eat as much as you want to eat, but eat Krishna Prasad.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Any other question or comment?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dipanshu this side.
Dipanshu Prabhu, welcome to the class. Finally, you made it.
Prabhu, I have a surprise for you as well. Shilpi has also joined the class.
What?
Shilpi has also joined the class.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Shilpi Mataji, is it per your quality control? Is it according to ISO certified?
Yes, it is. Is Krishna certified?
That's good.
So, Prabhu, question is that you are talking about controlling the senses. Isn't it all the senses are controlled by mind? So, if we can control only the mind, then all the senses will be in control.
That is the ultimate aim, but even if the mind is not in control, if you still try to control the other parts, intelligence is supposed to be above mind. Mind is supposed to be controlled by intelligence. But sometimes mind goes here and there. But still, if the intelligence says, no, you got to do this way, then it is okay.
Okay, so it means that if we can control the mind through intelligence, then rest of the things will automatically be controlled, right?
Most probably, yes.
Thank you, Guru. This is the question. Thank you.
It's just like when we are chanting. Most of the time, if not all the time, the mind is somewhere else. But still, intelligence says you still got to sit down and chant. And we are chanting. Even if it is mechanical chanting, we're still chanting. Slowly, 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 mind will come under control. In the beginning, it is, I have to do it. I have to do it. I got to do it. So even if the mind is not there, if you still keep on chanting, it will happen.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
You're welcome. Any other comment?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Vandamata.
Prabhuji, there's always a confusion. Like, mind is always talking to you. It is like, I mean, like, if I talk about myself, I think that my mind is always talking to me. So, how can we, differentiate whether the mind is talking to us or the intelligence is talking to us? It's very much difficult to make the decisions also. I mean, and it is very much difficult to find out whether we are making the decision, through our intelligence or through our mind.
First of all, the talk of the mind mostly will be why you want to chant, why do you want to come to the class, why do this, why do that. It always wants to take us away. That is one of the things of the mind in the beginning, because it will because the mind has been so materialized or so conditioned, it wants to take us away. So intelligence will be to use the mind to, first of all, to tell the mind to stop the nonsense talks and do the right thing. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has said about the mind. So every morning when we get up, we should beat the mind 100 times with a stick. And every night before going to sleep, beat the mind 100 times with a shoe. Beat the mind, not the head, because if you beat the head, then you might end up in the hospital. So, so beat up the mind, because mind has to be controlled. It's the most difficult to control. But in Nectar of Instruction, again, Rupa Goswami, why is talking Vacho Vegam, Manasa, Krodha Vegam. So first thing he says, control the sense of talking, urge to talk. Just control that. Mind will come under control. And then the second is control the mind also. The very first thing is control the urge to talk. Not even the urge of tasting. Urge of tasting comes later. Same tongue is used in both the activities, but just control the urge to talk. First thing, very first thing. And slowly, 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 other things will follow. Is that okay?
Yeah, Prabhuji, but it's very difficult, when we are in office every day, we have to deal with n number of people. So, of course, I mean, every time we cannot talk about Krishna to, everybody. So, I mean, I got your point. I would say it's very difficult.
Of course, we are not saying throughout the day you just chant Krishna's name. We are not at that level. But even if we are talking business or talking about our whatever activities in the office, if we in the back of our mind, if we can remember, it is Krishna has given me this service. Krishna has put me in this position of responsibility. For whatever reason, I have to take care of my services. So the talk of the mind will be okay, even if the talk of the tongue is. But even if that talk of the tongue is ultimately because we're using everything, all the fruits in the service of Krishna, it is still okay. Just like even when Arjun started to fight the war after Bhagavad Gita was over, of course, he wasn't fighting with saying Haribol, Haribol. He was obviously when he had to fight with Karna, they had to incite anger, so they use all the bad words. It's okay. That was for the service of Krishna. In fact, a wonderful story, wonderful incident I can tell you. I'm going to put you on mute again. Sorry. Once Srila Prabhupada, it was a big Pandal program in Bombay, and he was giving lecture. And his lecture was basically, he was asking all the Bombay people to come together and help Prabhupada in building the temple. So he was basically talking about money, money, money. Out in the audience, there were many people, and one person, he got little upset, and he got up. He said, Swamiji, I came here and thought you will tell us something about Krishna. You will do some Krishna Katha. And here you are sitting and talking all about money, money, money. Prabhupada called him on the stage. He said, come. And Prabhupada asked him, Prabhupada was sitting straight, and he asked, Prabhupada asked that person to sit down and put his ear on the back of Srila Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada continued with his, again, talking about money, money, money. And after that lecture was over, Prabhupada asked him, what did you hear? And the person said, I heard only Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And he was putting his ear at the back of Srila Prabhupada. Although Prabhupada was talking only about money and how to build a temple and this and that, and the person was only hearing Hare Krishna Mahamantra from the back of Srila Prabhupada. So any talk is okay, as long as it is related to Krishna. So we have to see how everything is related to Krishna. Even your job is related to Krishna. When you go home and you, many times you must be chastising our Virat Kohli and Cherry, and it is all related to Krishna because it's in the service of Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Your lectures are actually eye-opener. I mean, I feel that I'm nowhere. I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, these are all eye-openers for me. Thank you so much.
I hope my eye also will get opened up.
Your eyes are already open.
Well, right now it's 11:40 p.m., so they are getting close. Thank you, Mata. Yes, Radha Prabhu, I'm waiting for your expert comments.
Very good. A wonderful story of this first time of Prabhupada. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you all. So I guess we can stop here. Everybody's ready to go to work. So thank you all very much. Have a wonderful day. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Thank you.